Welcome back. IndusInd Bank has been reacting to what seems to be a fairly steady quarter. We have Sumant Kathpalia joining us, MD and CEO of the bank, to give us more color into, of course, all the factors that are at play, given that it's a challenging economic environment in which we are operating. Mr. Kathpalia, good morning. Thank you very much for joining in. Sir, I'd like to start by understanding the trend on slippages, because that's where we have seen a big increase. The slippage number for the fourth quarter is 3,800 odd. Do you get the sense that this is going to increase as we look at the next quarter, perhaps?
Thank you so much. I think if you look at our slippages, the gross slippages are about 3,700 or 800. 1,990 crores out of that slippages have come from corporate bank, and we have been able to update 1,630 crores out of that. These were slippages which happened because of the OTR. So you know that two accounts were of ours, one in a construction and one in the retail, were in OTR. One of them got, the OTR was finalized, the other has slipped into NTA. So it got upgraded. And the second one was because of the technical slippages, because of some operational issues, the stock statements not being received on time. And you know that there is a regulation that if you don't receive stock statements on time, you've got to classify the account as an NPA, because you can't compute the drawing power. So there were slippages on account. All of them have got upgraded, and we have only 330 crores which slipped in the quarter as a gross NPA. On the retail side, there were 1,541 crores. That was mostly because of commercial vehicles under the vehicle finance book, and we let the personal vehicles slip into NPA. That's number one. We did not restructure it. And secondly, I think on the commercial vehicle side, there was the lockdown. The Supreme Court NPA was lifted on March 24th. Some of the customers thought that they would not be classified as NPA. They did slip during the period from December to March, and we classified them as NPA. 25% of them are in the 30 to 60 bucket. They're not in the 90 plus. And in commercial vehicles, you see customers remain in that portfolio. So I think that's what happened, and I think I believe that the worst is behind us. We have to see how the COVID-2 plays out, and April collections are a little bit lower than what we thought it would be. It's 1% lower than what our expectations was, and when it compared to March. And I think we have to continue to wait and watch how COVID-2 plays out.
Okay, got that, Sumant. Yes, I remember the two companies. Ritu has been filing that left, right and centre. Future and I guess SP Group. Your explanations are tallying with what we have heard anecdotally. Can you tell us a little more about the MSME portfolio? How much is unsecured retail? And therefore, what are you gauging as potential stress in first quarter or FY22?
So on the MSME side, we don't do unsecured. The only portfolio we have is business loans in the MSA, and which is about 600 crores. We don't like to do unsecured.
Okay, one minute, Sumant. 1 minute, Sumant. They are two separate questions. Sorry, they were two separate questions. What is your MSME portfolio? What is your unsecured retail?
Okay, sorry. So our MSME portfolio is about 11,000 crores right now. This is about business banking, which we classify as MSME. These are loans which are given to small entrepreneurs for working capital requirements, which are secured in nature. I think our slippages were 3.5% to 4%. I think we've taken all that slippages and made the provisions in the account. How it works, I think if you look at the ECLGS scheme, we had given 1,400 crores out of that into this scheme. In the scheme of this MSME portfolio, and I'm talking only about the working capital. We do MSME also in the commercial vehicle side, which is around 18,000 crore of portfolio, which is in the commercial vehicle side of the book. So I think that portfolio I've already talked about. I think it's performed well. Light commercial vehicles have performed. I think the only portfolio which has not performed well out there, and which we always said that will require a restructuring, is the transportation segment, specifically on the retail side, which is the bus operators and the three-wheeler segment. I think that has suffered in this area.
So yeah.
On an unsecured basis, on the cards and PL, we have a portfolio of about 7,000 crores. We have already taken whatever hits have, we provided for it, and we've always been less than 5% of our portfolio, and will continue to be less than 5% of our portfolio in that business.
Okay, got that. Now, Sumant, this ECLGS, usually when people get the second dose of, money, 20% guaranteed, they are able to pay a few installments. But that, considering that there's a second wave of COVID, it can fall. And likewise, the bus operators, as you spoke about, the unsecured retail, even if you don't count it under MSME, that also is now faced with a second hump. So have you all made any internal projections on what might be the slippage ratio for the current quarter?
So, Lata, my view is a little bit different, and I think you have to go back and see how the second wave has played out in the world. I believe, yes, there will be a lockdown. There may be local level lockdowns. I don't think we will have a national level lockdown. I think the economic conditions and the growth will be very, is not what happened in the phase 1 of the lockdown. COVID 1.0 was different from COVID 2.0. Of course, we are seeing a strong wave, and I think we are all projecting the worst, but I think we are optimistic about the country, and we believe that it will come out of it very soon. Having said that, we continue to remain cautious, and I've said we've carried 1,600 crores of excess provision. So if you look at our contingent provisions, we've carried 1,600 crores of excess provision. In my opinion, the bus operator segment is something which we've been operating for last 18 years. They are very, very good customers, and I believe they're going through a troubled time right now, a stressful time, but I think they will bounce back as soon as the economy revives. We've also made a recommendation that I think if the COVID-2 plays out a little longer, then I think you must extend the restructuring by a year or so that these customers, who are very, very good customers otherwise, are not allowed to suffer.
Okay. Mr. Kathpalia, just a word on growth, which is obviously a challenge in this environment. Overall, in the fourth quarter, I think loan growth was just under 3%. So what's the expectation from here on total loan growth? And also I want to talk about retail once again. Will you go a little slow on retail credit and maybe even MSME credit, considering the environment around?
So if you look at our business, and the way you have to look at our businesses is a little bit different than what you look at other banks. So we have domain specializations. And if you look at 3 domains of our business, the vehicle finance, the microfinance, as well as gems and jewelry, they outperform the market, and they are growing at much faster than the market, and we are gaining market share there. So if you look at our commercial vehicle segment, the vehicle finance segment, we grew 30% year on year as far as disbursements are concerned, and in commercial vehicle, we grew 40% year on year on disbursements. So I think that's something which I just want to leave with you. I think we have 12 to 14% market share in these segments. So we will continue to maintain market share or maybe grow market share in these segments. On the other parts of the business, which is another 50% of our business, we will grow more than the market because we come from a smaller base, but we will not be an outlier in the market. I think what we are seeing, large corporates, there's enough demand, and I think there is enough demand in the market on the large corporates. On the mid corporates also we are seeing a demand. I think it's the MSME segment where we will be very cautious in how we grow, and if you look at our growth in the MSME segment, it's not been much, and we continue to be cautious in this segment.
Okay. Well, Sumant, the expectation is that bigger banks like yours will be able to grow the numerator, and thereby the stress will not be a very big issue. Your NII is not a great performance. If you can tell us what exactly affected this flat NII performance, and whether things will be better in the current and subsequent quarters.
See, the NII performance is an outcome of how your loan book grows, and if you have a 3% year-on-year growth, then I think the NII or the gross interest income does get affected. The other thing you have to look at NII performance basis the other interest income, and we had another interest income of 186 crores on previous quarter, which on this quarter is down to 67 to 70 crores. And I think that is because we got interest on income tax refund, which was classified out here in the interest. The third thing which affects the NII is the reversal of interest on the NPAs account. Like you rightly said, the gross slippages were higher, and that is why the NII gets affected. Our cost of deposits, on the cost of deposits, I think we've reduced the cost of deposit by 102 basis points during the year and about 22 basis points during the quarter. So I think we are on the right track on the cost of deposits. Next year, I believe it's a question of how COVID-2 plays out. I think we are producing PPOP margins of, if you look at a PPOP, between 5.8 to 6%, and NII will continue to grow if COVID-2 plays out and we are in a line with the strategy of 16 to 18% asset growth.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Sumant Kathpalia. All the very best. You all have the raw material, I guess, for growth if it comes. I guess much will depend on COVID, no taking away from the fact that you'll have steadied your margins on every other front. All the very best for the coming year, or rather for the current year.
Thank you so much, Lata. Nice talking to you.
Okay. Well, the stock market, of course, has given a big thumbs up to IndusInd Bank. It's one of only two banks that is in the green this morning. It's up about 2.25 rupees, about 0.2% higher. We're going to take a break and then discuss the other big theme of the last, 3-4 months, steel prices. It's become a particularly telling theme in the last 4-5 weeks. We are going to be joined by JP Morgan's Pinakin Parekh to tell us how he looks at steel prices and steel stocks.